Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Over the summer, I got sucked into the world of retro handheld emulation consoles. I had already been into these channels where people would fix old consoles or update Game Boys to have better screens, or the ones where they use their engineering skills for evil to make gaming console abominations. So it wasn't really a stretch that I would eventually discover things like the Retroid Pocket and the Miu Mini Plus. I'm a sucker for things that play on the nostalgia from my childhood, so of course I was immediately intrigued by these little handhelds. It also just so happened that I learned of these things while I had the highest fever of my life and couldn't move from my bed for a few days, so I spent pretty much all of my time watching every single video from a channel called Tech Dweeb and trying to decide which one of these things I was gonna spend my hard-earned money on. Should I get the more expensive Retroid Flip? Or maybe I should go with the cheaper Anbernic RG35XX SP Flip Zizzle. What about the Miu Flip? That one's pretty cool. But after I finally came out of my fever-induced research frenzy and came to my senses, I realized something. I already had a really similar device sitting in a bin buried under a bunch of other stuff I didn't ever really use. So I went to my closet, grabbed my junk bin, and dug out this guy, my homebrewed 2DS XL. I had actually bought my 2DS a while ago while I was in college and before COVID lockdowns even started. I really have no idea what possessed me to get it at the time because I bought the console and 2 games, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Zelda Majora's Mask, I think it was. And then I proceeded not to play it for years because at the time I had also just gotten a Switch Lite and was sinking every bit of my free spare time into playing Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing. After years of my 2DS sitting abandoned with my old Game Boy and DS, I got recommended a YouTube video of someone showing off what was on their modded 3DS and everything that it could do. I thought that doing something like that would be such a cool way to breathe life back into this old console that I wasn't using anymore. And it would be pretty low risk because even if I messed something up, I wouldn't be messing up something that I used every day or losing a ton of save data or anything like that. It would be so cool to have one portable console that has all of my favorite old games on it. I could play Streets of Rage 2, Sonic 2, Mario Kart DS, Nintendogs, Pokemon Fire Red, and I could finally try out all of the other iconic games I missed out on like Rhythm Heaven, Ace Attorney, Earthbound, and pretty much every single other Pokemon game. When I was in middle school, I jailbroke my iPod Touch and over the years have jailbroken some of my iPhones, so I was already a little familiar with the whole homebrew jailbreaking scene, but homebrewing a 2DS is nothing like how it was to jailbreak an iPod in 2013. It's definitely a lot more complicated than jailbreaking an iPod was, but I just followed a tutorial on YouTube and was able to get everything up and running in just an evening. It requires a lot of back and forth between the 2DS and your computer, transferring the SD card and copying files, but if you just follow a tutorial, it's straightforward and easy, even for someone like me who had zero idea how 2DS modding even worked. Once the actual homebrewing of the device was done, basically all I needed to do was download a couple emulators, transfer over my ROMs, and I had everything I wanted all in one device. I brought it to work to play during downtime, played when I got home from work, and Joe and I would even play it in the evenings, beating the first Ace Attorney game and starting to play Earthbound together on it too. But as with most things I do, I eventually got burnt out from playing the thing too much and went on to playing Danganronpa, Persona 3, Nier, and getting back into Animal Crossing on my Switch. And that brings me back to this past summer and my fever-induced retro handheld research binge that caused me to dig out my 2DS again. For some reason, my interests just seem to exist in a circle where anything I drift away from, I will inevitably find myself interested in again. Anyways, I told myself that I would need to play games on my 2DS for at least a couple of weeks, and if after that time I decided that I needed a new handheld, then I could buy myself myself one. And I'm glad I had enough sense to restrain myself, because using my 2DS again made me realize that it was actually the perfect little emulation handheld for what I wanted. I wasn't trying to emulate super powerful or new games, and the games I played most, like Streets of Rage, worked perfectly fine. Not to mention, what better device is there to emulate DS games than a DS itself? Which, yes, I know more powerful DS emulators exist, but also they're really expensive and I kind of didn't have the money for one of those, so this is about all I get. I really didn't need to spend my money on a whole other console just to have the option to emulate more powerful games. Between getting my 2DS out again and making this video though, I did somehow manage to do a little oopsie and completely erase all of my homebrew data and somehow brick and destroy my entire SD card by going into and messing with the system settings on the device and then trying to fix the problem without knowing what I was doing. Luckily, I had a backup of my data on my computer, thank God, another SD card, and a bunch of Reddit threads had forum posts where people had done the exact same thing as me, so I was able to get everything fixed and restored. So yeah, if you run into a problem, just look it up and don't try to re-homebrew and reset your device without knowing what the actual problem is. At this point, you're probably wondering why I won't stop yapping and just show you what's on the freaking device already. So let's go over to my desk and I'll give you a little tour of my 2DS. Hello everyone and welcome over to my desk table area here. And here is my wonderful modded 2DS. So yes, I do have the purple one, which at the time the only ones you could get were the purple one and then the white and orange one. And I so wish that I had known about the white and purple Japanese one, because I definitely would have tried to get my hands on that one, but now they're kind of ridiculously expensive, so that is not quite an option. And I mean, I've looked into shell swapping this and stuff, and that's just, you can't really do that, so I'm just gonna cover it in stickers because this purple is kind of like not my thing anymore. But anyways, that's not what matters. You are here for what is on this. So, opening up this, the first thing you probably notice that's different is the theme that's on here. So I'll kind of go over off the folder so you can see it. This was one thing that I really enjoyed about the homebrew stuff, is being able to completely customize it. So what allows you to do this is a little app called Anemone Theme Manager, and you can download like as many themes as you want. So we can go into here real quick and I'll show you. So yeah, you can see all the themes that I have downloaded, and we can go over some of them and preview them. Oh, how cute. This one matches my DS so well, so I'll use this one sometimes, but I just love the neon colors, man. So yeah, there's just tons of stuff that you can download, tons of themes that you can see. Oh, my favorite Sylveon, how cute. But yeah, this one's just pretty straightforward. An easy thing to do that makes a really big difference. So let's get out of here. And I will explain some of the different jailbreaking and homebrew tools that I have on here. So the first one, it doesn't have an app on here, but it's called God Mode 9, and it's this multi-purpose tool. It's kind of like a file browser, so you can see all of your files, but you can back up games and system data, and you can even dump like ROMs from cartridges on here. So if any of you are fellow Nick Robinson fans, God Mode 9 is what he used to dump the McDonald's eCDP game from his cartridge. So the next one I'll get into is called FBI, which allows you to install the .cia applications, which are the 3DS games. So like FBI, CIA, haha, funny joke, you know. But yeah, pretty straightforward. This one, FTPD, is one that I use all of the time now. It allows you to wirelessly access your SD card over FTP connection. So I just love this app so much. After completely demolishing and bricking my last SD card, now I don't even need to take it out of my device to put ROMs on here and put different stuff on here. It works like a charm, and I just love this one so much. So the next one we'll get into is called Homebrew Launcher. it's the main menu used to like list and launch all of your different homebrew applications. I never really use it ever. I just like directly install things and it always seems to work. So maybe if you kind of are more into it than I am. But for the like light stuff that I use this for, I never use Homebrew Launcher at all. So the next one up here is HShop, and it's a shop that has basically every 3DS game you could ever want to download, and you can just download it straight from here as long as you're connected to the internet and have anything you want. It's pretty awesome, actually. So the next one we have here is called Universal Updater, and it's an on-device app store for downloading Homebrew over Wi-Fi. So it's kind of like HShop, except for basically any other form of file or game or anything app that you could ever want on here. Again, another one that I use so often and I think is really, really useful. And the last one that I have downloaded is called Checkpoint, and it's an app that can manage your 3DS and DS save data. So you can back up and restore saves and transfer saves and all that. And it also lets you do cheat codes, which I actually haven't tried yet. So I might give that a try sometime this week. I know that there's tons of other things that people like to download on here, like MP3 players or something called PKSM that will manage your Pokemon saves, and there's a lot of Pokemon stuff that I don't play Pokemon that often, so I don't know about, but lots of helpful Pokemon tools. And then there's something I learned about recently called NetPass, which is like Straight Pass, but over the internet. So that's really cool, and I think I might download that one later also. But yeah, these are just the things that I have and kind of use occasionally or frequently. So next, I want to talk about the different games that I have on here, which is the main focus of this device. So in this folder, you can see a ton of different things I have, which I can quickly go through. So Twilight Menu, I'll get into a little bit more later, but it is an emulator for original DS games, which are just some of my favorites, but we'll get into that later. And then this one we'll also get into later, which is RetroArch, which you use to emulate basically every other game ever. As long as the DS will run it, you can download it, and I have a few that I will show you. The other games I have on here, like Smash Bros, Ace Attorney, Apollo Justice, Nintendogs, Ace Attorney Trilogy, Corpse Party, 2048, Mario Kart, you know, just a bunch of traditional games that I mostly haven't played a lot of them yet, but they're here if I ever do want to play them. Oh, Sudoku. I love playing Sudoku so much. It's so dumb. And Flappy Bird, of course. It's stupid. Yeah, let me show you a little bit how these emulators work. This first one is the Twilight Menu, which, like I said, it emulates original DS games. So yeah, here we go. It looks like, I think this is the DSi menu. I didn't have a DSi, I just had a DS Lite, but all of your stuff right here. Rhythm games, my favorite. Animal Crossing, another favorite. Brain Age is one that I like to play a lot when I was a kid, but my favorite is Mario Kart DS. I sunk so many hours into this thing and I never fully beat it. But I'm trying to work my way through it again. And things do tend to take a little longer to load up on here, but it's not something that bothers me, honestly. Let's turn up the volume. Yeah. And it works. It works just like it would on DS, like no problems. So yeah, this thing runs games perfectly. I mean, it's a DS game and it's a DS, so I sure hope it would work. But I've already put a bunch of hours. And there I go. Next we'll get into RetroArch. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. This is like the ultimate emulator for anything you could ever want. So I'll just go into here to my downloads, and I have Game Boy games, NES games, Sega games, SNES games, but I mostly play Sega games because the first console I ever played on was the Sega Genesis, and I still, to this day, love it so much. So all you have to do is you have to go. All of these are different consoles. So you basically have to load up your console beforehand, and then your games will appear in the list. So then we can go back to our downloads, and you can see all of the Sega games I have downloaded. Some of my favorites: Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat 2, two games I grew up on, Sonic 2, I love it. I've never been able to beat it. I'm trying my best. I suck at video games, but my all-time favorite is Streets of Rage 2. I'll show you how it runs. I have never had a problem running any of these games on here. Ugh. This game just brings back so much nostalgia for me. And I never did say to be good. I never did say that I was good at it. Okay, I am thoroughly distracted. But another cool thing about RetroArch is that you can make save states and can load save states and all of that. And again, I don't really use any of it that much besides my save states for this game. Yeah, it's a really cool piece of software, and I have never had a problem running any game that I have downloaded on here. So yeah, let's go back to the home menu. So yeah, that's everything that was on my DS. I know that I don't have a lot of things on here, and I'm probably not using this thing to its full potential, but it's enough for me, and it's exactly what I wanted it to do, and I love it. So yeah, while this thing isn't the most powerful emulator by any means, if you're just looking to play older games or specifically DS games and you just happen to have an old 2DS or 3DS lying around, why not give homebrewing a try before spending a bunch of money on a new device? I love flip-style handhelds so much, and my 2DS is just the perfect little device for what I need it to do. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see what becomes of this new little nostalgic tech project of mine. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.